Video, I will be ranking every single legendary Shikai in type still from worst to best. In order to make sure I don't get anything wrong, I made sure to ask a few top 50 players as well beforehand. And before we start, please make sure to like and subscribe as I'm trying to hit 7k subscribers by the end of the month, and let's get right into it. Alright, for number 6 and the worst legendary Shikai, I have Flower, and the main problem I have with this Shikai is the lack of damage from the moves and the moves themselves being pretty mid for combos. Like honestly, while playing Flower, I feel like I'm punishing myself by comboing with Flower moves over the base speed moves, coupled with the fact that the Flower C move Seamless Cuts is practically useless. Your opponent can just spam F and get free posture back. Honestly, it's not horrible, but I feel like it's just not deserving of a legendary Shikai. Like most comments are more usable than Flower. The Flower weapon is also pretty trash in my opinion. The range sucks, and if you miss if you miss time the crit, you're basically stuck there and they get a free combo off on you. That being said though, if you do time it properly, it is a really nice combo extender, and most people are not able to parry it. So like if you're a Hakata user, it'd be nice. However, it doesn't maintain airtime, so at the same time I think it's pretty trash. But like generally speaking, it's not the worst Shikai, it's not the best Shikai. I've seen Flower mainly used with speed builds, but I feel like Flower Kendo would go pretty hard as long as you get Mortal Ties. That would be a solid build. You could also try Flower Hakata, but like nothing maintains airtime, so at that, like it kind of just depends on your playstyle. But honestly, I just wouldn't recommend using Flower. It's not that good in my opinion. Like you can make it viable, it's not terrible. And I know some Flower users might get mad at me, you feel me? But like, it's not as good as it was. Like when it dropped, Flower used to be really busted. Everybody was trying to roll for it, including myself. Obviously, that was like a year ago now, right? But like, yeah, it's been nerfed way too much, and it's honestly pretty trash. And also the Bankai boss is incredibly difficult, and in my opinion, the actual Bankai isn't even that good. Like I have never lost to a Flower Bankai user before. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. But yeah, I think Flower is just overall an L Bankai Shikai thing. Like Bankai is overly difficult, and when you even do get it, you're still gonna get packed up by a common Bankai, you feel me? But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next one. Now we're on to number 5, and this is going to be a bit tricky because a lot of people did tell me that Theater in the right hands is really good, but at the same time I can't rank this higher simply due to the fact that this Shikai has too much weaknesses and it's easily countered by counter heavy builds and playstyles. So if you're fighting somebody who doesn't know what Theater does, it's almost a guaranteed win if I'm being honest. However, at the later levels of PvP, when people start getting more sweaty and Theater is no longer as simple to use, the X move Wraith is a free counter and it's easily punishable / dodgeable. The Z move Kageoni is honestly pretty solid, but it's easily shut down by counters as well. And then Imu Oni, I can't pronounce that. The C move and the counter is really the best part about the Shikai. You're able to confirm about any move in the game off it. The counter into Rising Swallow does a straight up bar, and you can further extend into Sonata for Flower Passage. So the best build for the Shikai is easily going to be the 45 Kendo 20 speed build. I think the biggest downside of this Shikai is just the fact that like if your opponent has a counter, you're just cooked straight up. Like none of your moves are usable. If your opponent has some brain cells, they can easily play around Kageoni as well, because like the thing about Kageoni is it's very like you can confirm the move off of like a flash set, but if they just are always beside you and are able to cancel it and playing super aggressive and not just recklessly flash stepping, you're gonna kind of get cooked. But at the same time, like honestly, this could be ranked higher. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, this could be number 3, but just like off my own experiences with it, I can't rank this any higher. Like if somebody wants to argue for it, then go ahead. Another thing I do want to mention that I think would be worth mentioning, when I personally used to main this, I really do like the Bankai. Like the Bankai for this is incredibly busted. It's super fun to use, and I would highly recommend it. Relatively difficult to beat, but when you do get it, it's gonna be sick. So yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next one. Number 4 is going to be Suzume Bachi. Honestly, I would have ranked this higher if it weren't for the fact that the Shikai got a pretty massive nerf this update with the Sonata float no longer combo extending with the Shikai. This makes Kendo no longer a viable option in my opinion, so I'd say the best build for Suzume Bachi would have to be 60 speed. Or I've seen Hakata do decent with it, but none of the Hakata combos are actually true. You're able to pretty easily dodge out of most of it, so I'd personally recommend you grab speed with Suzume Bachi. The biggest strength the Shikai has is the gap closers and combo extenders. The C is a really nice gap closer and a free combo starter at early elos. As you progress, it does start to get parried more, but still solid. The X is a really nice guard break combo extender. I like to go Spectre Step, Feint into the X. Usually they're going to be blocking, so a free guard break into Waterfall Dance. Overall, the Shikai has no real weaknesses in my opinion aside from the lack of damage, but with Suzume Bachi's combo extenders, that's, you know, like it's not too big of an issue. I also want to shout out my boy Chaotic Fizzle for letting me use his account for these clips. Before I conclude this, I do want to say a lot of people did also tell me that this should be ranked higher. But in my opinion, I don't think it should be ranked higher. Low-key, like, it's a nice Shikai, but after the Kendo nerfs, honestly, it just fell off. I'm not gonna lie. Let me know if it's still viable, though, in the comments below. Let's move on to the next one. Number 3 spot has to go to the Blood Shikai. Blood's honestly one of the best abilities in this game, and it's been meta since the game re-released and originally released. The biggest issue that Blood has is the skill curve between good players and bad players. If you're fighting a bad Blood user, you're gonna probably think this Shikai sucks. This is just because Blood damages you for missing the moves, and the moves are honestly pretty difficult to learn and land for newer players. But once you get it down, this Shikai is really busted and has no real downsides. The best build with Blood, in my opinion, has to be 60 speed, though I could see Kendo and Medic builds working with this as well. Blood does an insane amount of damage, and every time you land a blood move, you also heal back some HP. The Bankai is insanely busted, and for how good it actually is, like, it's hard to beat, but just because of how good the Bankai is, I feel like it's a fair trade-off. Like, every single time you land the M1 with a T move, you heal back some HP. The G move is an AoE slash, so like if you want to do some boss raids, Blood is a great option. Like, generally speaking, there's really nothing the Shikai can't do, and there's no realm that it really lacks in. Honestly, like, I just feel like there's other Shikais. Like, the only reason this isn't even ranked higher is just because, one, the skill gap is pretty high between bad blood players and good blood players, and there's other Shikais that do it a bit better, in my opinion, at least, right? And before I conclude this, I do want to say, like the guy I'm fighting in this clip, the new Scythe crit goes crazy with Blood. Like, honestly, I would highly recommend picking up that new Scythe crit with Blood. It is an insane combination, and you will be able to almost guarantee just about any Blood move you want. So yeah, 60 speed, Scythe, Blood, great combination. Let's move on to the next Shikai. Number 2 spot has to go to the Ice Shikai. Before I even say anything, this Shikai in my opinion used to be the best, but after receiving some nerfs it has fallen off a bit. However, some people wanted me to put this lower. However, I don't think it's fallen off to the point where it's below the number 2 spot. It's still pretty prominent in the meta, and it's still primarily viable due to the stun of the moves and how easy it is to punish aggressive players with Ice. The counters are really solid, and it's so free against specifically speed and Hakata users. If you're competent on Ice, you're basically untouchable to Hakata users, and speed is really easy to beat. So let me explain. So first off, Ice users are speed users, Spectre Step, counter, boom, Fast Fang, free counter. Like, the wind up on the speed moves is really readable, so it's basically just a free counter. Hakata, if they're using anything but the red move, you can just counter them and boom, you're out of the air combo. And generally speaking, they're pretty easy to avoid Hakata combos, so you gotta make them really fight for that combo, and by the time they're back up there, just pop the counter again. It should be back. Like, it's really easy. The best build in my opinion for Ice has to be the 60 speed build. The fast moves allow for you to easily combo, extend off the Ice stuns, and even get some confirmed combos in. Generally speaking, anything works. Number 1 spot has to go to the Ink Shikai. This is easily the best Shikai in the game, and it can honestly complement and work with any build and type. So once you're hit with the Ink moves, it's basically GG's. They stun you, slow you, and disable your moves, so you're just a sitting duck waiting to get comboed. Type Soul also really doesn't have any reliable way of avoiding combos aside from dodging with And with the ink moves slows, you won't really be doing much of that. There's pairing, but obviously this game doesn't have consistent pairing. The Bankai is incredibly busted as well, and in my opinion, the best build for ink has gotta be the Hakata. It's literally just a free win condition unless you're fighting like a top player who's really good at pairing. I could go on about how busted ink is, but obviously I really don't want to make this video too long. So if any of you guys do have any specific questions, let me know. But like straight up, like it's not even complicated, bro. Land the ink moves and you can just sit there and combo them no matter what build you have. Kendo, it works. Speed, it works. Hakata, it works. Keto, it obviously works. Like, you just stun them all their moves and then flood everything you have onto them. They can't do anything about it. It's brain dead. And also shout out to Cease for letting me use this account for these clips. I am a bit washed on ink, but yeah. Anyways, have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching and goodbye.